Hello Capricorn, we are here to do your channeled messages. For those of you that don't know, I'm a psychic comedian. If you're a newbie to the house, very warm welcome. And we're dealing with a storm here. I'm streaming from Perth, WA, so I'm hoping that the signal continues. If it does lag, you will see a 1 and with the astrologer. What crystal do we need for Capricorn for the month of June? Now, you guys have a little bit of time before the eclipse is going to hit your sign. And in typical fashion, you're the only zodiac sign I've done where I've selected the ruin and it directly relates to your sign, which is very interesting. Whew. Okay. Now, okay. What are we looking at, Capricorn? Okay, this can be unique because the previous nodes were Cancer, Capricorn. We also now have the new nodal energies that are here for 2.5 years, which is Sagittarius and Gemini. We currently have Venus in retrograde in Gemini. We're also, during the month of June, going to have Mercury retrograde in Cancer. And we're also going to have Neptune retrograde. Now, let me check the dates. Neptune, June 23rd in Pisces. So again, it will be very crown chakra energy for the collective. And it will be our shadow energy because we have Black Moon Lilith in Pisces as well. You're facing a shadow, that's what I will say. Let me look at the Capricorn energy. This also, at a collective level, will also resonate with the frequency of what's going on in the collective and governments and things to that degree. Now, with the first eclipse, there's going to be a lot of themes of psychology coming up. So if you are looking at your belief systems and paradigms and, even your belief systems of what you link into, you're going to be very tuned into it, but it's going to be very heavily on your mind. Some of it may directly be outside of your control. This really for you on the 5th of June is going to be coming up. Look, this is interesting because we have the X, which is, well, I call X. We have the energy of this coming through. Now, with this ruin, playful, makes sense. I'm going to show you this card as well. We've got a chakra come up for you. 14, which is 5. The changes that one needs to make, and it's fair-based frequency. It can also be the devil card in the tarot, which is directly your zodiac sign. Not that you're the devil, it's more that it's the energy of that. It's very Capricorn, it's very level up energy, it's very Saturn. Now, this ruin directly relates to Squirrel, Capricorn, Saturn, Saturday, Black, Earth and Fire. So again, utilize the Tumberline. There can be a little bit of jealousy that is kind of thrown your way, or you might be in that frequency of why can't I bring things together? Why is something happening? Now, it can be happening a few ways. 1, other people are wanting from you. 2, it might be that you're feeling everyone's always calling at you. Yes, you're the Capricorn energy. You're very linked into Saturn. Maybe you've worked extremely hard. Your shadow sign is Cancer. So, on the opposite spectrum of things, what you'll find is you do tend to, in your shadow, really, when things aren't going so great at work, hi, Dale, you really need that very solid home environment. You really need that nurturing energy. And it's something that you innately will either A, do for yourself, going into hermit mode, needing the home time, needing some downtime, but also having a little bit of time to think. So potentially if you are working, you really go into your mind, you might be extremely quiet or moody, and take on the attributes of a Cancerian. Also in your relationship sector, you're really needing a very nurturing male or, female energy in your life that understands the themes of traditional values and home-related dynamics and family networking. It's something you've really tried to achieve, but potentially it hasn't been always that perfect. You will find that something connecting into your relationship and potentially, a very, you might have a telepathic connection with this energy, But there also could be things around family coming up, and a past tense energy with your love life this month. Now, this ruin does relate to personal needs, self-preservation, intervention. It also connects to spiritual needs, deliverance from distress, self-mastery, and transcendence. Now, it's interesting because in the reverse, it can be greed, excess, impatience, extinguishing of inner fires. And I do feel if you guys are feeling slightly distressed, it's unique because to this ruin, and it is in reverse, you also did get the abundance card in reverse, but I feel it's more at a spiritual level. So if you're at burnout level, if you're really tired and agitated in the aspects of astrology, might be triggering you to a degree, you're really guided to go into the spiritual energy of your needs and what you believe growth is. Maybe you're being very critical of yourself. Again, just spend some time and do some heart chakra work because green is the level of heart chakra, and I do feel it will clear those energies up. Now, channeled messages linking in from your loved ones. They're saying you're being too hard on yourself. They're also saying that you're very critical of yourself. And this is either mother or father energy regardless. You have some really bright ideas, and, you know, although you've tried to move towards them, a lot of which you have really, you know, achieved. Some of your wounds might have related to, you know, the way people have spoken to you, maybe things they said, maybe endings in things, endings in partnerships, etc. And they said they know that you're doing a lot of healing in that area, and it has been quite testing. They're also asking you to pay attention to your health around the next 2.5 years, and there will be a lot of changes happening with that. But you need to actually really keep balanced and, you know, take the time to be able to tune into what the information is that's given to you. It can be information overload, especially with Gemini in your 6th house. It can be, you know, too much going on, too much time, you know, connecting with technology and needing to have a little bit of meditation time. I do feel your schedule and your day-to-day movement can be the thing that impacts. And if you're working, you know, driving, it's set time for downtime. You need to balance that. So if you find you're getting really tired, you're going to need to balance that frequency. Showing me something. Let me have a look. Now, the eclipse that you guys are going to have is going to be July, so the following month, and that is going to be on the 5th. And it's quite unique because we've got the Sagittarius eclipse on the 5th, which is very much linking in with your 12th house. And so whatever you're tying up in a sense of a loose end, especially at a spiritual level, a psychological level, you're going to find within 6 months you're going to be in a different space spiritually. I'm also feeling with your first eclipse, it's going to be on the 5th as well. There's big changes happening. So your self-worth, your value system, all that is going to be really critical. But you need to kind of go easy on yourself because you're really doing a huge assessment of where you're going, both spiritually, emotionally, financially. And you had really wanted some of these. You've worked incredibly hard, so you've wanted a lot of these changes. And I can see a lot of 5s coming up on the cards. So it is relating into these time frames, I feel, with the 5th of June and the 5th of July. Your guides around July will be with you, but during June, which is where I really want to focus, in your financial domain, in your career sector, any delays and any upsets and any ins and outs of those plans that you made, I do feel it's going to start settling down, but you need to, you know, not give up, so to speak, or not get frustrated to the point where you feel it's not transforming. Some of these things haven't kind of settled down, and maybe there has been a lot of outgoings, maybe hiccups to do with the way you're spending the money and what you're needing to spend your money on or what you're choosing to spend your money on. Yeah, it feels like it's a never-ending journey. It's like come, go, a lot of movement, a lot of busy energy. The busy energy can be via your meditation on how to move. and where you're going and what you want to invest in. Like a lot of indecision. Some days you're okay with things, other days it feels you're very indecisive about it and still in the meditation. I do feel if there is a legal situation, which is quite unique because we had, at the end of May, we had Juno go direct in Libra, and for you, that falls in your 10th house. So if you're waiting on a contract from work, or if there was something that happened at work and you're waiting for money from that, I do feel it's coming through. Again, Mercury retrograde. Mercury's going retrograde in Cancer. Let me look where you are, Mercury. On June the 18th. Now, even a week before you're going to feel this. So try and finalize any paperwork that is in your direct control before the Sagittarius eclipse, because this could be very testing mentally if there's any paperwork that needs finalizing or contracts. If not, there can be a slight delay, and it's not saying it's not coming in, but this is causing frustration if there's lots of paperwork that's been done in your workplace, etc., or you're waiting for the contract to come in. You are going to recoup, and any lost time, don't feel you're losing. Any money going out, don't feel it's not coming back, because it is. And I especially feel for those who it's relevant, it is turning over a new leaf, but this also could be to do with expenses linking with younger people. And again, Aquarian energy can connect into children, so too with the Gemini nodes. It can link in with education and school systems and things to that degree. So, young energies could be pulling finances out. I mean, you're trying to tie up these loose ends. So if you are a parent, and it's not for all of you, but those of you, if you are parents, you've waited for this balance and this fairness, and it might be more coming out of your pocket. You may be picking up the slack for another person. You might have wanted a settlement or something to that degree, but it hasn't healed. Some of you also may have an unwell relative, and there's cash component going out directly to that individual. And this doesn't have to be connected to what's happening in the collective. It feels very separate. Yeah, like an ex or something to that degree. Okay, your family and your tribe. Yeah, you're being very realistic. It's like you're being Saturn energy. You're in the listen, Linda energy. If I don't have it, I can't give it. If I do, I will. If I want to, I will. If I don't want to, I won't. Very pragmatic, very practical. You're trying to change a whole dynamic in a family-related situation. For those of you who this is a past tense energy, I feel you're trying to get this to change, and you feel maybe it hasn't been. And, it's taking more than it's giving, and you're getting really sick of it being eat, pray, repeat with this. You feel it's a bit cursed. What is this situation, Capricorn? I'm telling you, it just feels as though there was a point in your life where maybe you dealt with either an ill person, or maybe a mind-orientated person who wasn't too well. And only because of some of the cards that have come up here. And from that point, it felt like you tried to move forward, but there were really huge imbalances. It can be very, those moments where you're just having a bad week. And for you guys, I feel it might be longer in the energy, but you're going to come out of it. It's more to do with your vibration coming and going. It's almost like you're telling yourself all those worst case scenarios, or how did I deal with that? And when you're in the dark, you tend to attach more to the dark. And it's really about maybe just looking at the reality of it very separately of what's going on with you, because we don't want to live there, and it's just not healthy for you to be in that vibration. So a tool you can use, because you do have playfulness, right? And with the orange energy, as your crowning energy, it can be fair-based frequency. And again, as I mentioned, let's address the elephant in the room. There's an elephant on the card. Let's take the playful approach with this, right? And the Chiron lotus flower. And look at this, and it does make sense because where your Aries placement is, Capricorn, is in your 4th house. Maybe your mind, it's either your mind or something that the mind has dealt with at an emotional, psychological level. It's been a little bit testing. So when we get into that dark spot, what we need to do is notice, and I noticed this with me, I would always ask myself, okay, am I fatigued? Have I been eating healthy? Is there something I can do to deplete some of my pent-up energy? Is it exercise? Is it getting some just fresh air? Is it having some quiet time? Is it just going to listen to nothing? Whatever you feel is that go-to energy, now during that vibration would be the time. And then not to tune into what the solution is, but usually to get to a place where you just don't think about it at all, just for a little bit. And then as your body becomes relaxed, I feel solutions are going to come to you. Some of them, I will say, are outside of your control. And that's something in an energetic sense you may need to come to terms with. And it's detachment so it can resolve itself. Because it's not your job to resolve, but it seems like people might be pulling you in. Karmically speaking, let the tower fall. Changes do come when you detach. But sometimes in a spiritual level, of commitments, obligations, and all of these things going on, it drags us back into this and it takes us to this yucky level. I do feel any clarity that you don't have, you should be doing more objectively on positive things. This can be driving you to excess, wanting to go into hermit mode. As I said, when we get triggered, we do tend to go into our shadow energy, and yours is Cancer. It's the opposite sign on the wheel. So for you, take that time at home, connect with individuals that are like-minded. This can also be a very likely time that you reach out to your love interest if you're not connected to them, because you may be feeling quite vulnerable. Now, this is a 14, and we do say the 1-400 links in. Maybe even getting scared that this spiritual connection may not be accepting of you, might be maybe in a different level viewing you. Again, I do feel you'll still reach out. Okay, those of you that are away from this person and have no contact, one or the other is independent. And it's funny because I was even channeling the messages up here with addressing the elephant in the room, talking about the real deal, feeling maybe this person hasn't changed or you haven't changed, and being very critical. Whatever side of the spectrum it comes from, you or your love interest. This person's coming through quite independently, maybe misinterpreting, you misinterpreted or they misinterpreted the way you are. And it's funny because on this occasion when I'm looking at the card, it's almost like the fan is Edward Scissorhands. And the demeanor that the person is taking on is very detached. But it's more from appearing to be in control of things. It's very poker face energy, but it's also, please don't test me. Is there something you need to speak to me? So it might be quite defensive energy, the way in which they're talking to you, but there is a chemistry between you, and you do find this person incredibly independent. Even if they don't see their energy to be such, they do have that aura that is very, very independent. Now, they may be more, one or the other is really, this can be in a little bit of ego. Purging a cycle, looking at something from a perspective, maybe getting triggered and not doing things so healthy. If this is on your side of the fence, I'm going to pull a chakra card just to confirm. And maybe I should use the other deck actually. Because I'm feeling like there is a bit of low energy here. But it's more depression. Yeah, I'm telling you, like coming out of this energy, coming out of this detached or fixated or very controlling energy, it's shifting, but it's sort of like poker face energy. Hi, doll. Emotional, right? There is movement into high waters with those of you that have no communication. But I am feeling, really, if you have taken control of your emotions and you are reaching out to each other, I do feel one or the other is smiling that a lesson has been learned or something is being achieved, but I do feel supportive energy coming in. You may be the innocent person and this or the other person, but one is the innocent party. A lot of communication is going to come in about, I'm going to use the other deck. It sort of is about, okay, well, where is this going? That's sort of the energy that's coming through, especially with this first card. It's like, okay, thank you for the communication. This can also be information that you hear, and you're very reserved and maybe semi-speculous. You know what I mean. This is a lot. I do feel many of you have been working too hard, and if you have been using vices to cope with your energy, it's probably not really going to give you a hand. Okay, how do they feel about you? This can swap you or them. Oof. They actually, one of you is looking at there is a very, very tight bond here, and I do feel this is very telepathic connection. It's almost like on the 5D, this is what I'm picking up. In the dream state, there is this perfect blissful and the dream, okay? With Neptune retrograde, your dream states can become very vivid. You can be having very, very unusual dreams moving into this transit. I do tend to find it's more so, especially with loved ones that have passed over, they do come through heavier. I'm the nurturing, understanding one. She feels bad about things and she's coming home. Oh. Yeah, I do feel, look, the balance is coming, but the opening up between the energies is going to be more so. But just allowing that person to open up naturally as they feel and just acting really normal. Don't walk on eggshells, though. I would not suggest walking on eggshells. Obviously not irritating the person, but allowing them to deal with their emotions and creating healthy boundaries. But and when I say healthy boundaries, obviously if you're under attack, it's not. But more so to the point of respecting that person's privacy in their mind's eye. But on the 5D, when I say 5D, it's like in your dream state. And when you think about this relationship, where it could go, it's perfect bliss. But then you get to the 3D, and it's directly in front of you, and it becomes a challenge in your mind. And I do feel there's something to do with inner child work that's being looked at. And it's more to do with, how do I place it? Believing in the dream, believing in the reality that can be so, and it is to do with abandonment-related issues. If you had a separation previously or anyone's hurt you in the past, you need to connect the dots that both of you are not those energies. Both of you have experienced pain in the past, and it's your energy to understand that this, what we put out in a belief system is what we manifest back. If you're open up, and this is where you're moving to, so this opening energy, work on your solar plexus and sacral chakras. I do find, even though the higher chakras are open, especially when we're telepathically tuning in, as soon as you are thinking of a person, you are tapping into their energy. And if you fixate on their energy long enough without looking at your side of the fence or a 3D situation in your own life, you tend to start embodying their vibration, and you will then need to purge their vibe, right? So with that, more be okay. If you have a lot of interest and this vibration is coming through you because you're tuned into it now, you need to rid it. So you can do the lower chakras. And I would really say, gradually doing the chakras, you'll sense where pain body experiences are coming up. So you'll have lower back, you might have the back of your neck, which I know is coming up for Capricorn at the minute. And it is a purge of the ego, a purge of a belief system and a perspective. And again, you need to let them flush that. They can also be getting sinuses and headaches. And the third eye moving into the eclipse. With the eclipse, it is going to be in their first house placement the following month. But more so on this, they do have broad shoulders, but it is the heaviness on their back. And it's more like attachment fixation energy. And they've given too much power to past tense events of that being a continual frequency. Opening that chakra up can mean a purge if that person has blockages. So you're going to have to allow them maybe to articulate and then get to through them choosing themselves. But for you to address anything that's coming up, okay, Mercury energy, safety, higher heart chakra, Chiron, that this is moving. The whole foundation of this situation right now, and why all these things are coming through, especially with Mercury and Cancer. Now, when that goes retrograde, 8, 9, 10, 11, make sure your yin and yang is balanced. If you're a feminine, being in the receiver mode, but you can be getting a lot of downloads, you will find maybe you can communicate your truth of how you do things, but more space the communication sense of how you have experienced something X, Y, and Z, and I did this. But you can't make someone do something. I feel reciprocal. I feel more so if you're doing that work on your side, it helps move it. But there is a yin and yang here, and I do feel as that comes in, there can even be communication of, what are you doing with safety? Some of us are so fixated on it because we have been hurt and we've had people leave us or hurt us or betray us. It's like, I burnt my hand, so therefore if I touch the stove again, I'll burn again. And then the next time you touch, then you never touch it again because, you think it's on all the time. It's about using the quality systems and the tools. So then you check the stove, it's off. Yes, I can clean it. So it's being rational about those things, that you can't avoid a stove unless someone's cooking for you all the time. You get my gist. It's an analogy. Higher heart chakra, blockage in that. It's like you're protecting yourself. See, our intuition usually tells us, if my intuition was correct, I can avoid disaster. It has nothing to do with your intuition. Your intuition has everything to do with you. So if you feel you need to do something, say something, speak something, it's your job to do that. Not if you're playing a game of chess and you're thinking, if I say this, this will be the outcome. That's attachment. That can be manipulation. We can never permanently transform a person's mind. It's something that naturally takes its own cycle. And the direct lessons and the situations that happen around us help us form these opinions. Yes, in a sense, if something doesn't feel right to you, usually the high heart chakra with Chiron, and we are going to be having Chiron going retrograde, that will be July 11th. When that happens, you can assess those things. You can look at those things. But at the moment, it's direct. So the way in which we're handling things is from our own personal perspective. And especially with Black Moon, Lilith, and Pisces, it's crown chakra. It can be us psychological, looking at our psychology. Why do I do that? Why have I said that? Why does that trigger me so, that one statement or that one action? And when we do step back and actually look at how much it affects us, we notice it affects not just relationships, but every facet of our life. Because while we're doing that within connections, it will affect our work because we won't address certain areas for fear that there may be an outcome. And we're more looking at it from a perspective of, if I put my chess piece here, that's what the outcome will be. But we can't determine that. If we need that, it means we're not being present in this one moment and experiencing the vibration. Now, what the outcome is keep an eye on Sagittarian eclipse, because this person is really going to transform. And I do feel this is the Phoenix rising. And so this is very Jupiter energy. And because we do currently have Jupiter retrograde, and the funny thing is, this can be you, Capricorn, by this eclipse, you're really rising through this psychology energy, this mental anguish, this understanding what everything meant, and this transformative state for you is a brand new situation. So whatever this is like passing a test. This is moving to the next level and really taking this person by surprise. very balanced. Partnership energy and those in contact. This will still resonate because there is a lot of, how do you space it? There you go. This is interesting because, how do I place it? I feel this will relate to even couples because we do have the placement of Capricorn, Jupiter in Capricorn at the moment. So even if you're in a connection, at times you do need to look at it as a single person's perspective, not from having an open relationship. I mean, if that's what floats your boat, yes. And if that's your paradigm, yes. But more from a perspective of being independent, an independent thinker, an independent healer. Some of these wounds might come up in a conversational piece for those of you in communication and connection. Again, I do feel this is you guys speaking about things from your perspective, providing you're only speaking about it from your perspective and not inflicting it upon the person or projecting it onto them that this is the only way. You may actually learn something from their way of doing something, and I feel it's going to be quite fluid. There can be cross wires. There can be heated conversations. Try not to take it personal because really moving through this month and for the first week, it is very energetic. It can be very hot and heavy. You're trying to see the truth of a matter, but it's almost like you're trying to decipher Morse code in 24 hours, which is very much more so you're trying to run 50 steps ahead and you're not being present in the moment because you're not trusting. This is really fear-based frequency. There can be a trigger coming up in you or your love interest, and it's a huge necessity to balance the yin and yang. With the Two of Coins, I feel more you're looking at the past and you move into the present, but you're not. No, the past and the future, but you're trying to paint it in two different ways it can go. This can also be both of you have two things that you're dealing with, and you'll find as soon as you shift the energy onto that person too much, things in your life will become imbalanced at the moment. And this can be till Jupiter moves into Aquarius. So it's very important during this year, moving into 2021, you'll notice how it happens, because if you are in communication and you get movement and then there's none, be it you're in the connection or you're just in communication, it will stagnate it. So quickly shift the energy back to yourself and focus on some of the tasks you're doing. That's alignment. This is where the yin and yang balance is going to come from, because our mind is where we are tuning into the past. And it's a false perspective that if we have an assured path, everything is perfect and safe forever. That means we're still in a cycle. So it's the physical work you do to get you to that space that once you're in that understanding and you do that, you can have a lot of movement, but it's really necessary, trust me. I've been doing that for 1.5 years now, and it's the only thing that balances it. Only thing that balances you. Is it really? Oh, it is too. There you go, Angela. Miss Spiritual Angel in the house. Okay, chakra mindset, throat chakra. Caution with your communication. It's like I said, there is heated communication. But I'm not feeling bad. I'm feeling you're very you guys together, you do have a lot of chemistry. Okay, this person, when they look at you, it's you or them. You've sort of got this left eye thing where they're intrigued by the intelligence on one side, but one of you has X-ray vision in the way you look at each other. I do feel there's going to be a moment that this conversation is going to flow very fluidly, but at first it can be very tit for tat, maybe, how do you put it? Cheeky, playful energy. Cheeky, playful energy, but very... it's funny because the most confident energy in this you better watch out, because this other person, they don't show confidence, but when they know, and that this can really take you by surprise. Because once they're red under the collar, I mean, it's on. So, and I don't mean from fighting. I'm not talking about that aspect. There is the shadow aspect of them. They come off very on the outside, but what's behind that? That's flaming. That's, have fun with that. I don't feel many of you have completely seen that yet. I think it's going to take you by surprise. Yeah, okay, limited belief in reverse. Like, you are very, one of you is very worldly knowledgeable, okay? You're very articulate, you're very intellectual, can be very spiritual, one of you. Just your viewpoints. Some of them can be way out there, but who cares? It's it's your unique vibe. And I'm hearing the great debate as to how this is going to be. This is a lot of this person coming out of the shadows and so I told you, the left eye, look at that. It's quite channeled messages, man. Yeah, one of you is very intuitive. One of you appears to be a little bit quiet, but I don't think you've seen their shadow side yet. And if you have, you haven't in a while. Now, your chakras are going to be wide open. There's a bit of freedom coming from this. And I'm also feeling a brand new beginning in a way this can be. Wow. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Holy moly. I have not seen that in, I would say, 3 years. Okay, imagination. Neptune Retrograde is going to set your world on fire, baby. Where's Pisces for you? Where you guys are going? Oh, wow. You guys are going to be talking about major plans here. I mean, look, Sagittarius in a sense of growth and movement. There is potential. This Sagittarius eclipse could activate a lot of conversational pieces. And again, the third house is Pisces. You guys are going to have an opportunity, and it's 4-4, 4-1, 4-5 about changes, 4-2 about both of you together, and inner child, and moving away from your fear and moving into your creativity. All of it is purple. It's very Pisces energy. It's very Neptune. And because Neptune's going to be going retrograde, plus we're having the Sagittarius eclipse, what's been on your mind is coming up. And these are beautiful, beautiful dreams and places. Talking about the reality, the illusions, but it's dream state. So it's a fluid, beautiful place to be. This can also be where they're coming through in your dream state and communicating. But this is illusions. You're going to face the shadow of the illusions, and it might be that what happens between the both of you, you're really seeing something from an incorrect perspective, and some of this communication is going to clear that out. I do feel your focus is going to be on the healing and also on your intuitive energies. So be it they're delusional, illusional, it's creating a connection at a very, very different level. And I do feel this is boosting both of your self-esteem. Whatever, it's either at the 5D, and for many of you, I just feel it's 3D. This is very, very soon coming into a very balanced state where you guys are very much going to be very spiritually connected. Some of you also may be deciding to have children. Any questions? I can't believe I got through that. That was a big day for me, and it is almost 3. It is 2:47 in Perth, WA. In the afternoon, that is. And for some of you, it's probably 3 in the morning. I'm so sorry. I love you all. If my bell has been dinging and waking you up, I'm sorry. Right. It looks beautiful. I have never seen that, not in 3 years. Oh, wow. If there's some hanky-panky stuff going on there, it's going to be fun. Have fun with that. If it does happen, just put down, after the video is done, when this happens this month, just put 10 out of 10. So I know that was, romantically connected. I need to, talk in code on here. Don't want to upset the algorithm now, do we? If you get down and dirty, just chuck a 10 out of 10. I was right. Because this is going to take you by surprise. You're going to be like, what? And the feed is going to die. Oh my goodness. Any questions? Are we happy with that? Are we all good in the hood? Gonna go and create for that'll be fine for you that have not subscribed. The new videos coming are going to be twin flames, twin flame energies. It's also going to be any astrology, any psychic downloads I get, what's happening on the collective, if the sheep resonant peaks or anything that's coming up in my mind, I'll bring it to you. Okay? Love and light. If you are wanting a booking, you can go to the link. Thank you for your comments and your donations. Bye, guys. If I can go.